Howdy everybody. My name is Chris Tribbey from Caledonia, Wisconsin, which is actually a suburb of Milwaukee, just south of Milwaukee, maybe 10-15 miles south of Milwaukee. I'm going to be rider number 9 in this year, or actually 2020 Cannonball, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my motorcycle I'll be riding. I was thrilled that I was able to ride the bike in the 2018 Cannonball, which is my first time that I did it, and I took number 9. And was the oldest bike in the 2018 ride, 1911. So this is a 1911 Excelsior. I'm the second owner of the bike. I'm going to make another video talking more about how I acquired the bike and how I restored it. But the cool thing about the bike is it's the original gas tank yet. And you can still read Excelsior Autocycle, manufactured Chicago, Illinois, which is really cool. The engine is a single cylinder battery ignition. It's not a magneto, so it's a battery coil, which are inside the toolbox here. And it's a atmospheric intake valve. So the really cool thing about the atmospheric intake valve, there's nothing mechanical that opens and closes the intake. All of the early single cylinder machines had an atmospheric intake valve. So what happens is on the downstroke of the piston, it actually sucks that valve open, and when the piston comes up, it pushes the valve closed. So when the bike is running, the valve is actually just fluttering away, which is just amazing to see. And I had zero problems with this with this atmospheric valve in the last Cannonball. So we're going to be retaining that same atmospheric intake valve. The exhaust valve is controlled mechanically off the camshaft. One cool thing about the bike is all of the controls, there are no cables, everything is a steel rod. So your right hand grip is actually your advance and retard for the ignition. So as you can see, as you're turning, advancing and retarding, it's turning and moving these steel rods, which come down to the intake system, the ignition system, that again control your advance and retard. There's a single set of points inside the point cover. The gas tank also holds a quart of oil. It's about a gallon gas, about a quart of oil. The gas goes in one plug, the oil goes in another plug. The oil to the engine is controlled by a little needle valve. So I'll be setting the needle valve to a certain amount of drips that you can view through the oil sight glass, which actually is a window, a glass in there that you can count the drips. The oil then goes down into the crankcase where it stays, and I'll be draining that oil at every gas stop and putting in fresh oil. The rear petcock here, this is for your gas. It's a needle valve that controls the gas, which goes into the Shebler carburetor. I'm running the stock Shebler carburetor. To transmit power to the rear wheel, it actually has a chain, which is how you start the machine. So you're going to be turning the chain, which is going to be turning the wheel, which will then turn the belt, which will turn the engine. That's how the engine is started. Right now I'm working on the rear wheel. I'm going to be running the original style clincher rims. And there's a lot of debate on should you run clincher rims or not for the Cannonball. I'm going to run clinchers because I want to run this bike as it was originally built in 1911. I ran clinchers in the 2018 ride. I had no issues at all. So I'm going to ride clinchers again. One thing I have modified on the wheel is I'm going with a different style hub this year. For the last race I ran a Musselman rear hub, which came on the bike stock. Another option in 1911 was a Thor hub, which has a different style rear brake. I had some brake issues on the last ride, so I laced up a new hub, and hopefully I'll have a lot better luck this year with my brakes. And then the other pulley on this side, this is for your belt. So I'm running the original wooden pulley lined with a strip of leather, which is leather legging, it's called. And that way the leather belt rides on top of the leather legging, so it's leather on leather. So we're going to put this down and let's go over on the other side of the bike. You can see on the other side, clearly see the leather belt, which I'm going to run again, obviously. This will be the tire I'll be putting back on the rim with the new inner tube. And this is the lever that controls the tension on the belt. So think of this lever as your clutch. Because there's no transmission in the bike, there's no clutch. It's a single cylinder, direct drive, and the only control you have getting the power to the rear wheel from the engine is by putting pressure on the belt, which put pressure on the pulley, which then turns the wheel. And again, this is your accelerator, your throttle, controlled by steel rods to the carburetor. And your exhaust system, this is the muffler that goes right to the inside of the fender. I'm going to use the same navigation system as last Cannonball, along with a Garmin speedometer odometer. So once again, I'm looking forward to seeing all of you guys and gals on the next Cannonball. It's going to be a great ride. It'll be the first Cannonball ride. We're starting in the north. We're heading over to the East Coast, and then we're going to be finishing up in South Texas. So I'm thrilled to do the ride again on the same bike. I'll have the same road crew this year, which is great. I'll look forward to meeting you guys on the road. All right, talk to you later.